is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Hope you're having a marvellous day today. Today we're going to be taking a look at the channel of Colleen Ballinger. The reason why is because one of my lovely mods had said perhaps I should take a look, because somebody's views are still going down for the channel of her size. She's still getting quite a lot of dislikes, but also she's having to try and bait the audience out still with clickbaity titles and featuring Miranda sings. And I thought to myself, yeah, it's either that or I'm going to cover that silly little cowbag, Quirky Rosie. That might well be tomorrow. In the case of Colleen, what I want to do is go through a few of her videos that I've had to download at a ridiculously low frame rate because downloaders don't work over here as much as they used to and OBS doesn't want to do as it's damn well told. This way, that way, we are able to then look at what she's been up to over the course of this year so far and decide whether or not her career has a chance at resurging, rebuilding, or whether she is going to be where she is and plateau before a graceful decline going forward. Colleen is a frequent uploader. Being a frequent uploader means there's less of a chance because of who she is, where she resides, that she'll be considered haram, and then she'll be able to get herself into that algorithm as everyone else can, except for me, to be seen by a regular audience. In her case, around the 40,000 variety. Variety. I said that 3 times in edits, and I'm still saying it now. It's ballpark. I'm going to leave this in, I'm sick of redoing it. The one thing though that is consistent with the viewership she's getting is the decline in comments. Now this could, and it's likely to be, because she is filtering all the negative comments out, or has it set in such a way that mods are doing it for her, because she's still getting a really good number of dislikes on all videos regardless of what she says within them. But with the 5 videos I want to show you, for 46,000 views and around that area going forward, except for the more recent, that is obviously the newest, it's nowhere near that, it's a third of that. There aren't many comments. In fact, I get as many comments on my videos, and I get about 5,000 views. This either tells me her viewership and her core audience aren't interested in engaging in what she does, or her comments are heavily regulated, irrespective of what they say. This in turn makes her channel look like it's just one people put on in the background, but based on the format of the content Colleen produces, it isn't really background noise content. And that isn't a dig, that's more of a, actually that's a reasonable thing to say when you're a vlogger who actually vlogs. Unlike others like Amberlynn Reid, who just sits there and does nothing, recaps her day and shows and does zero. Although the recent crying has been quite delightful. The first video we're going to look at is titled, I'm Pissed, but mostly annoyed.
Hello everyone, bad news today. I woke up late and I had a meeting this morning, so I went into the meeting very frazzled. The good news is I woke up at all, right? I mean, well, some people might not think that's good news, that was dark, but I feel like that's good news.
Well, that was cute. A smidge of passive-aggressive. Doesn't hurt anyone, does it now? Nothing wrong with that. Of course, it can be argued that by introducing it, one has, well, been incapable of letting go of the very thing that destroyed their career. Which was entirely your own fault anyway.
I remember there was a time when I genuinely would wake up so depressed that I woke up. And I know that's dark. I'm only saying it because I'm grateful that I woke up today. And that's a very big step in the right direction. That's great. I think everyone deserves to wake up feeling happy that they woke up and that they have their life.
You know, you have this thing in your video settings where you can edit out parts that are baity or perhaps a bit dark. You want to try and be authentic, but what you're doing is allowing your intrusive thoughts to take front and centre with off-the-cuff remarks early in a video called I'm Pissed. Why she's annoyed, by the way, isn't for the same reason as the passive-aggressive comment. I just wanted to highlight this part because it seemed relevant. If I can find another part of importance, I'll include it before we move on.
So I started neurotherapy last year and I did like 10 sessions and we mostly focused on like my panic. When we did the brain map, they found that most of the panic was gone. And that's true, my panic attacks have basically almost completely gone away. So now they're focusing on insomnia and anxiety and kind of that like fight or flight feeling that I kind of always have. Very anxious, always kind of on edge, like something bad's gonna happen all the time. So that's what they want to work on now.
So this is really interesting. I did not know about the neurotherapy. Even though I covered her last year, as an end-of-year thing, it didn't really feature in any content. I do not wish anyone, unless you're a politician, or I guess, a nonce, to suffer a panic attack of any kind. Insomnia and anxiety is something I am quite accustomed to. It's not ideal for anyone. But I'm not a politician or a nonce, so it's okay. I would like to be cured, thank you. In the case of Colleen, of course, I wouldn't want her to go through it either. Some might latch onto this point. and say that this is, or this part, and make the point that this is based on your guilt for your actions, and there may well be truth to that. Therapy is a great way of trying to better yourself. Whether neurotherapy helps deal with the issues of anxiety, insomnia, I don't know. I find pills do it quicker, but that's just... In the next video I want to show you, we get to see behind the camera, I guess. It's a vlog, so that makes sense. But into the process of making Miranda, and the reason for it is to entertain her children. Totally fine, nothing wrong with that in the slightest, not contentious. I just want to highlight the fact that you're having to use Miranda Sings, because rock turning and talking about therapy and your children's lives might not be what gets you additional views, and you didn't do it much last year, use Miranda that is, you were basing out with the title. This year you're using Miranda to try and get that attention onto your channel. It's not really helping. In fact, in this video, titled Instagram Conspiracy Theory and Miranda Sings Cameo, it got less views than your standard content, barely getting 38,000 views compared to the 45 to 46,000 views you usually get.
I did something very strange last night. I do something strange every night. I'm sure everything I do is strange to most people, but last night I actually dressed up fully like Miranda for the first time in a very long time. It was because there's a book that my kids really like called The Pout Pout Fish. This is a very popular book. A lot of people like this book.
Now for me personally, I would, if I had a character like Miranda, regardless of how successful they once were and how cringy and irritating they may well be considered now, I would use Miranda as much as possible. Why? Because it turns out people find Miranda slightly more relatable than Colleen. No offense intended, and actually not be offended, I don't really care. Colleen has been outed as being a terrible person, and that's unlikely to change your fortunes on YouTube, no matter how much content you produce. Slipping into the world of Miranda may well be what saves you, even if you didn't get many views on this video where you baited and then showed us a little behind the scenes, which I should insert now. Before we move to the next video, which is titled I'm Sick of Being Like This.
I haven't done this in so long. This is really weird. I have this idea for my kids. I was like, oh, I want to film this Miranda thing really quick before their bath time. I have not done this in so long. It's very weird, so I felt like I should document it. So here I am. I don't have much time. I'm gonna try to film this really quick. And the reason I'm here is because I need a green screen, but I don't want to go get my big green screen. I'm a bout finch with a bout face, and I spread the dreary wearies all over the place. Blump, blump, blump.
Am I the only one that thinks that if this was intended for your kids, surely you don't need to show it to us on YouTube? Some things can in fact remain offline, rather than constantly featured into online content. I am judging slightly because I do look down on those who use their kids in their content. I think it's wrong to, and your children do feature. Again, not judging, I'm just not a fan. Your inspiration to bring back Miranda being that to entertain your kids is admirable, but putting it in a video that will undoubtedly be monetized makes it seem a little disingenuous and like you're running out of content ideas. Since this video barely scratches 10 minutes, I'm inclined to believe that that is also true.
Hi everyone, don't mind Miranda in the background. She's just, lurking as per usual. So remember when I was like, I want to be more positive and look on the bright side of things, like life is, all that stuff I said? Well, clearly I didn't listen to my own advice because I've been crying all freaking day and I'm sick of it. If my period doesn't start tomorrow, I'm gonna be pissed because that means these emotions are actually real and legit and they're not influenced by PMS, and that is very frustrating to me.
This video in question, and this clip comes from quite early on in, got 2,500 upvotes and 2,100 downvotes. The comments though are virtually non-existent on this video, so it's hard to gauge the response from those who are clearly not being permitted to be seen on your channel, either because the user themselves have been hidden, or you have or someone else has gone and removed the comments, which then creates this echo chamber of responses because people are looking at what you're saying and taking it on board on face value rather than looking at a wider context of consequence that impacts mental health. I'm not trying to judge or be rude or disparaging in the slightest, just to be clear, which is why I'm trying not to focus too heavily on the fact you're in therapy a lot more and you talk about it a lot more in your content now, to instead just highlight the Miranda Sings has to feature because, let's face it here, shiny thing in the background, people's attention is drawn to that. And I should of course point out that because of how this is being portrayed in the video you are putting out, it is very hard for those who would ordinarily be a detractor to latch onto the reasoning for it because they're just a hater who doesn't take mental health seriously. That's the problem, isn't it? Can you criticize somebody who uses their mental health, or failing mental health, to criticize them, their content, the substance of it, or do you have to allow this to go untouched?
Because I don't want to be this person anymore. I really am trying. I really am. Like, therapy and neurotherapy and not giving up and working hard and doing everything I can to be a good mom and a good partner and a good friend. It's just so frustrating. I just wish I didn't care so deeply about everything. My God.
If you want a piece of advice, one that may well not be given to you in therapy or by those around you, perhaps from some lowly oik on the internet, for the sake of your mental health, for you as a mother, a wife, blah blah blah, log off. Just simply stop making content. Come back when you're ready to come back. If this is a vital source of income for you, I can fully understand still being here, but that would mean you're a slave for views now. People are going to latch onto this kind of content and undoubtedly use it against you. There will be those that disparage and say, you deserve this. I am not one of them. If you genuinely want to be a better person, the best thing you can do first is protect yourself by removing yourself from the online space until you are ready to come back. It's not that complicated, really. It's just the addiction part that may well be a troubling aspect for you. Now, I do have 2 more videos lined up, and I bothered to look at them and realised they are remarkably boring. So I took the liberty of going to look at all the channels that Colleen has. I realised a slight issue. For example, I went to the Miranda Sings channel, which is massive, no new content in about a year. And the podcast channel, which is called Relax with Colleen and Eric, hasn't been used in 12 days. Although that does mean at least that channel is getting used and you'd expect a new episode to be up there soon. Views for which are there, and for a podcast, not something to turn your nose up at in the slightest. Just under half the views of what she gets on a regular vlog. To go from what Colleen has had to what Colleen now has is a massive change. And one does have to be a bit more thoughtful with what they do. If she doesn't already use it, I fully expect a Miranda Sings cameo in the near future. Not even a joke. I don't expect an only super fibro-failed adult film actor, thankfully. Mercifully. Because no one wants to see Miranda Sings with clown paint. Oh wait. Anyway, with the fact that this is the nature of the vlogging space that Colleen inhabits, and that the mental health and therapies for which become front and centre, along with using Miranda whenever the opportunity presented itself, I'd like to know what you think. Do you think this is where she belongs now? Do you think that there's still a space in the online space for Miranda or Colleen? Do let me know in the comments down below. As a final thing, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch tonight, some Euro Truck, because it's a Valentine's Day event. Hope to see you there. If not, have a wonderful day, and thank you all very much for listening.